For
Hmm?
February Thursday. Funny story about that. I forgot. I thought all of yesterday was Wednesday or Thursday. Yeah, I thought yesterday was Thursday, not Wednesday. It's February the 13th. Here's the news. Jaden, you want to start us off? What do you got for us?
Well, our top story, one of the coldest of cold cases, has finally been solved. Jack the Ripper's identity has been revealed after 130 some years after a DNA match found on some of the clothing of the victims found it to be Aaron Kosmiski. The 100% DNA match, it appears as though he died from a schizophrenic break in a psych ward some hundreds of years ago. So, at least he's dead.
Well,
Up
if he was
next, we've got
alive, that'd be a real problem. Have you
even
seen?
scarier, I know.
Have you seen like the? I don't know if this is a police sketch or whatever. Scary looking dude.
Yeah, looks like the
Well,
Babadook.
solved, I guess. Modern
In other news,
medical miracles.
speaking of people dying, RFK has been confirmed to head up the HHS. He was voted along party lines with Mitch McConnell, breaking with the Republican Party, citing his views on vaccinations and his views on polio vaccination, specifically, with McConnell being a recipient and recovery of polio. He's urged to disband the USAID today, citing it as a, quote, sinister propagator of totalitarianism and war across the globe. Never mind the fact that his uncle, JFK, was the creator of USAID 64 years ago. What do you got, Tommy?
That's absolutely wild. Sorry, that's absolutely wild. That's fun. Cool. Uh, all right, what do I got? So I want to talk about USAID,
Mm-hmm.
USAID, because so I read from the USAID chief, who was the former one who just resigned. 20 million people rely on HIV antivirals around the globe. Now, is the United States responsible for all of that? I don't know. It didn't specify. But typically, certain countries handle, because of proximity, they handle disbursement of that. They handle different areas. The United States pulling a bunch of funding, pulling a bunch of resources and a bunch of people, is putting 20 million people at risk. Um, there's also, I've seen medication that is going bad that prevents blindness. So this is the party of pro life that is now advocating for policy positions that are going to kill millions of people. And first things
Mm-hmm.
first, if you think that's okay because it's saving us money, you're a sick human being that needs psychiatric evaluation. Second thing is, if you are one of those people, it's going to inevitably cost us more money in dealing with geopolitical strife, in dealing with viruses spreading and disease spreading. We're going to have to pay significantly more money to handle it when these problems get bigger. There's a reason we pay into it now. It's to prevent global pandemics, it's to prevent global endemics and horrific things from happening. And the Republicans are just like, yeah, we saved ourselves a tiny bit of money so you can pay it more later. These things are identified as being important, the USAID, and so our congressional representatives pay money into them. They vote to put money into them. And Republicans are now saying, fuck the Constitution. We hate it. We don't believe in it. And we want some unelected bureaucrat to come in and oversee gutting stuff that we know nothing about. But also, we hate unelected bureaucrats because Biden's a puppet that's owned and operated by the deep state. It really is a uh, miraculously stupid. I mean, prophetically. Yes, I made that word up. Really, really is. This kind of stupid only comes around about once in 100 years. And here we
Oh
are.
yeah.
Here we
Mm-hmm.
are. The Ukraine war. So Donald Trump is now undermining the war in Ukraine, basically saying that Ukraine is going to have to cede land. And so I want to be perfectly fair here. We already knew that might be a possibility, right? The problem is that that was only a possibility in the end, that it wasn't winnable for Ukraine. It's completely winnable. It's completely within their grasp. Yes, it will take another 1 to 2 years if Russia does not relent. This could be a long-term sort of war in which they're fighting. It could buckle down into a regional conflict, whatever, to whatever degree. So we knew it could be a potentiality that Ukraine would have to cede land, at least in the respect of this is contested land. What Trump is saying is, no, we're going to give over land. And it has sent NATO spiraling. Absolutely spiraling. You remember what I just mentioned a minute ago about having to spend money to save money later on? This is one of those
Mm-hmm.
situations. We take money that we've already spent, taxpayers paid for stuff a long time ago. We take that equipment, we ship it off to Ukraine, and they fight with it. And what we get in return is not having to deal with the ramifications of Russia and their shadow over Europe. And that's what's happening right now. Russia is a nation in decline. They need some sort of strategic endpoint, and that endpoint is Ukraine because they're going to go there and go everywhere else. And so Trump is coming in and saying, no, I'm going to speak for Ukraine. I'm going to speak over everyone. And I'm going to try to get these sides to agree to something that at least one of the sides doesn't want. NATO's not really sure if they can fund Ukraine to the degree that they need if Trump ends the war. The thing is, don't know. I don't know if the Republicans in Congress would actually agree with this with Trump because they've continued to support Ukraine. And most of them, despite their public incessance that this is a bad thing, have said it's good. Trump said he was going to continue to fund Ukraine. He also said he was going to end the war 4 months ago, so that's going well. And Republicans have voted to fund Ukraine, even though slowly, pretty much relentlessly. We're now in a situation where most of the Western countries in the world are now panicked about this situation because Donald Trump is looking like he's going to undermine not only international law and the prospects that if a country invades another country, they can just take territory as their own. So that's kind of what we're up against. But now it looks like he's taking his aim at the war in Ukraine. And if the last month is anything to be shown for it, he will continue to do fucking terribly. And this will fail as well. And then he'll forget all about it. And it'll just be this little catastrophe that's brewing off in the ether. And then it'll blow up into a whole international incident. And then, just the typical Trump stuff,
Mm-hmm.
If you continue to, I can tell you right now, he's going to mess with this and not do anything about it. And then inevitably it's going to create a larger problem. And then he'll come in and have to solve larger said problem. And then he'll claim that he solved the problem that he created. That's the MO. That's the MO.
Yes. We've got some more news in the world of aviation. Yesterday at San Diego Bay, military fighter jet crashed. This is the sixth plane collision and second military collision since Trump took office. Two of the pilots that were on board that military fighter jet did evacuate and were safely recovered by a Fisher boat passing nearby. Were not in the water for very long. In addition to that, just yesterday, another plane at the St. Louis Lambert International Airport skid off the taxiway upon landing. Upon arriving at the airport on Wednesday, all people on board were safely offloaded onto an airport bus and taken elsewhere, and it appears as though everything is okay with that. What do you got?
Planes going down left and
Planes
right.
again, yeah. This really isn't news, though. I mean, this is kind of an everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
In addition to that, Trump has been voted as the Kennedy Center board member upon a unanimous vote from the Kennedy Center Board of Trustees, which, of course, contain people such as Dan Scavino, Donald Trump Jr., Usha Vance, and, of course, Donald Trump as the chair. So he retains that position. And in addition to that, members are dropping out of their scheduled performances at the Kennedy Center based upon their protest of this unilateral move.
What if it's just like the one thing he's always wanted to do since he was a child, And now he's just gonna
Well,
go
it's gotta be.
he's just gonna go fuck off and oversee performances for the rest of his life. That would be swell, It's just like
Hmm.
I became president so I could. No, I don't know. Um,
Just give him
what
that.
do I would think he has like one little like childhood itch that he's trying to scratch something. You know what I mean?
It's his
I know his
father's approval.
it's his father's approval just chirping into his ear.
Has to
Musk
be.
is the real president. You're a loser.
We got some good
uh,
news out of the federal judges. Federal Judge James Boasberg has blocked the Department of Justice from removing January 6 videos from its public database. It's a huge win for those who seek to protect and preserve democracy against the fascistic and attempted coup on our nation's capital.
right.
In addition to that,
If it was
what's
just a
that?
tour, why do they need
You
to get
wouldn't
rid of
need
the
to.
video? You know what I mean?
Right.
There's not an
It's
armed
perfectly
robbery on
fine.
there. Let's delete the video.
See how they're not robbing people? The way you can't
Yeah,
see that
you know
video?
what I mean? It's like when the Bush administration deleted the torture tapes. Nothing here.
What torture?
What?
It's not there.
Us?
See? It
No.
wouldn't it be on
Silly
video if it
goose.
was?
Silly goose. Sorry, go
Some
ahead.
good news also coming from the federal courts here. Judge Brendan Herson has temporarily blocked President Trump's recent executive order aiming at restricting gender-affirming care for transgender people under the age of 19. Judge's ruling comes after a lawsuit was filed earlier this month on behalf of families with transgender non-binary children who allege that their health care has already been compromised. Now, a group of families of LGBTQ people and a doctors' organizations are among the plaintiffs in the court's challenge, one of many lawsuits opposing the slew of executive orders that have been signed by Donald Trump in recent weeks. What else do we have
We got
here?
Doge gained access to NASA and the
Mm-hmm.
IRS. You
That's
know,
right.
um, could you imagine if they just buckle the IRS into being like completely useless and nobody
Mm-hmm.
has to pay their taxes? Oh, be great. Be
Well, if they're going
fantastic.
after that and they're going after the Department of Education, does that mean student loan debt doesn't exist anymore?
I guess.
What's the MO here?
I
What's
mean, what's the
I'll take
enforcement
it.
mechanism? You know what I mean? If
Yeah, you
nobody's there to
can't
actually
collect.
enforce it, then
Right. Who knows?
I'm just
Let's
saying.
see.
I
Coming out
wanted
of
to
the
talk
state of
about
New York,
this. I
what's
wanted to
up?
talk about this one really quick because this isn't a really, really important, a really, really important situation. The Republicans are talking about 1.5 to $2 trillion in budget cuts.
That's
That's
right.
what they're talking about. Some of the Republicans are like, "That's too much. There's no way we can do it." The problem is the actual oversight that they're. I can't remember what agents or what agency oversees it. The agency they're trying to cut this from oversees Medicare. They've admitted to trying to cut Medicare and the
Mm-hmm.
subsidies from the federal government to the state for people to be able to buy it. So if you, like I do, buy health insurance off the marketplace, it's going to go up because those credits are going to be decreased. Your insurance will go up because not only that, right? They're talking about going after Medicare and finding there's 800 something billion dollars in there that they're
And
going to
Medicaid.
try and cut some of it. This is going to cause yours to go up. There will be less people that are insured. Yours are going to go up as a result of it. So if you think, oh, this is so great, they're going to find these budget cuts, no. It's directly going to affect how much you pay for health insurance. And this is going to destroy a lot of lives. It's going to harm a lot of people needlessly. But it looks like they're going after the $880 billion dollars that is in $880 billion that is in the
Medicaid.
Medicaid fund because where they're trying to pull it from, it's like energy and energy and commerce. There's not that much money in that agency. Energy and commerce. There's not that, so they're not cutting anything else. Like for clean energy, and for other initiatives like that. Also, there's just not enough money there. So the big one in that budget is Medicaid, which leads everyone to believe, and everyone's been speculating, they're going to cut Medicaid, and it would be disastrous for Americans.
Coupled with the 20% cut on SNAP benefits as well.
And
So
just to
keep
point out,
America unhealthy and starving.
they're trying to find that $2 trillion in cuts so that they can fund Trump's tax cuts from 2017 for $4.5 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Yep. Coming out of the state of New York, the lieutenant governor, let me find the story here. Lieutenant Governor Antonio Delgado called for Mayor Adams to step down. Quote, New York City deserves a mayor accountable to the people, not beholden to the president. Mayor Adams should step down. Additionally, federal prosecutor in Manhattan, a Republican and Trump appointee, Danielle Sassoon, resigned earlier today in protest of obeying Trump's DOJ order to drop the charges against New York Mayor Eric Adams. People are revolting against this. They're not happy with the latent corruption that's taking place in New York. They're not happy with even their own Justice Department, be they a Republican or Democrat, siding with bribery, siding with a corrupt mayor who should not be there, should not be retaining that position. People of New York deserve better than that, and our Justice Department is not delivering it.
Yeah. He needs to go. I don't understand how they're saying that the Republicans are not corrupt and the Democrats are, and then they're letting all the Democrats go that are actually corrupt that need to go to prison.
Mm-hmm.
Bit wild to me. We're gonna go after. It's basically whatever a crime in their head exists. That's what they're gonna charge people with.
Yep. Not the actual crime,
I
no.
know, and they all
You're in
they
our
all go
camp
law and
now.
order. They don't understand what law and order is.
And then cry foul when it's actually held to account.
Yeah.
One of the funny things that came out today in terms of lewd conduct here, 7 witnesses have reported that CPAC chairman Matt Schlapp allegedly engaged in lewd conduct and allegedly sexually assaulted a man at a bar on Saturday night near a property that he owns in north central Virginia. This is very much telling and a part of the par for the course of Republicans condemning things like promiscuity and engagements with the same sex, and now, of course, behind closed doors, doing the exact same thing.
I do want to share. Do you have any more stories? Because I do have one thing that I just got. Note I just
Oh, let me
saw.
see. Republicans proposed a morning after pill ban today, and that's all I've got.
We'll see where it goes. It's probably going to get some backlash with the Republicans because they weren't going after abortion, right?
Oh, I've got one more thing here. Kanye West and Bianca Censori have split up and are filing for divorce. They've had talks with various divorce courts and lawyers, and I'm only thinking that Kanye's first response is, "Was it something I said?"
It's such a lighthearted and good joke.
Gotta end on a good note, though. But they are getting a
Yeah.
divorce, though. That's some news there. So that's what I've got.
Did anybody
Yeah.
not see that coming? Oh, that's a good joke. So I wanted to finish on this because this because this was an interesting thing. So there was this farmer on TikTok. His name's Skylar, and he ran this farm. He got approved for funding through the what's Biden's the Inflation Reduction Act. He got approved for. They basically run these channels where they can recycle the water that comes down as these drainage pipes, pulls out extra water to help save water in these areas, whatever. And he got approved for hundreds of thousands of dollars in match funding, right? So, like, there was incentive for him to do it. He went out and did it. He paid, hundreds of thousands of dollars. His government was supposed to come in and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars. He signed everybody up to come in and do the work. And then Trump came into office and said, no. They paused all of the loans going out, even though he had a signed contract with the federal government for this money. This guy voted for Trump, as seen by his reposts. And then he's like, what's going on? I don't understand. Because, this was a Biden initiative. I guess, according to one of my moderators, that he was in a live with this guy, William Westmoreland. The guy's a political dude on TikTok. I guess what he just said was he thinks what Trump is doing is impeachable. So it
Who will act
seems
on it is the
like,
question.
yeah, but I'm just saying, for a Trump supporter to be like, I voted for Trump, I supported Trump, and then he didn't screwed me over at hundreds of thousands of dollars that he's not really sure how he's going to make up now. He believes it's impeachable. So maybe there is hope for the effing around and finding out. I know a lot of people have drawn an aversion to it, but my personal thought is unless they personally experience harm, they will not get out of that idea of this. Like, I mean, let's be real. It is white people in this country are largely sheltered and insulated from their policy decisions and their policy determinations and what they believe is good. They're sheltered from them. It hurts other communities, and at the expense of other communities, white people prosper. If they don't experience this, if they don't find harm through the Trump administration, it will not change their mind. Consequences is the only thing that's going to happen. Are you going to change everybody's mind? No. No. There's some people will die on this hill or die drinking the Kool-Aid. Others, which is the people you need, that's that percentage in the middle, will change their mind. And that's what you're going for. So that's your news for February 13th.